I did some good things, too. Korra, who warned you about Unalaq? I did. Bolin, who got you into the movers? I did. Asami, who saved your company? I did. Mako, who got you thrown in jail? I did. Oh yeah, I guess that was a bad thing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wasting Time podcast. We are back from the dead. It feels like it has been a long time, but we have in fact returned to waste your time on more things. I am your host, Chris, and along with me for this ride, as always, is Gray. Say hi, Gray.
Hi, Gray.
Haha.
Lol.
You never fail to be as literal as possible.
I never fail to go for the most cliched joke possible.
At least it's something.
Yep. We should probably give at least a little bit of an explanation for the long hiatus.
I suppose I can do that.
Or I can handle it, since it was mostly on my end.
It was mostly on your end, but I can put the simplification first. The gross oversimplification of why we've been gone so long is simply put, Gray's computer sucked.
Yeah, pretty much. But
if you'd like to go into further detail, please do.
Basically, my hard drive had been failing since the beginning of December, and I didn't realize it. But it's fixed now. Got a new hard drive. Everything's cool.
Bitchin'.
And because of this long hiatus, we're doing an episode today that we've been planning for a long time, but it's kind of far after the fact at this point. But you can tell our nice audience what we're doing today.
I suppose I can do that. I was actually a little bit worried at first when we were planning to, when we said, all right, we're actually gonna record this thing. I was a little worried because of the fact that I felt that what we're going to be talking about isn't exactly in date anymore. Like, I felt like for a little bit, at least, it felt like what would be the point of talking about it. But I found a little bit of a loophole that we can kind of exploit here that makes talking about it not such a bad thing. I mean, for those of you who haven't read what the title of the episode is, we're going to be talking about The Legend of Korra, and originally when we tried to record it, it was like maybe a day and a half after the series finale of Korra.
Yeah, it was like that weekend we tried to record it.
Yeah, we tried recording it a couple times, and it, just a bunch of shit, so, the little loophole that we can exploit to kind of get ourselves out of it is the fact that Season 4 of The Legend of Korra actually just released on Blu-ray this past week. So we've got a little bit of an out there to where we can talk about it and have it be relevant. So.
Yeah, that's pretty serendipitous.
Indeed, it is. So for those of you who didn't watch any of our other podcasts, you fools, the format's pretty simple. We're going to be talking about what we liked, what we didn't like, basically going over each season and pretty much the same questions for those separate parts as well. So if that's your kind of thing and you like hearing people's opinions, this will be the podcast for you.
I know I like listening to my own opinions.
I do too, as a matter of fact. Sometimes I'll play video games and just listen to me in the background. But anyway, I think we've wasted enough time before the actual time wasting, so I guess we can just get started then. We'll start by talking about like with the show itself. I mean, Korra has a pretty decent set of characters. I know when we talked about Naruto, we were talking about a pretty gigantic cast. This one's a lot more refined, so it's probably a little bit more difficult to ask this question than it was when we were talking about Naruto. Who is your favorite character?
Well, you say that, but there is a pretty large cast of characters, especially for, even in the first season, they introduced a lot of characters, even though it was pretty short. But in terms of main characters that you really remember, there's not as many.
Right.
But
there are not.
In terms of favorite character, probably a safe bet would be to say Korra herself,
Yeah.
but I just remembered another character that I really like.
You can say it if you want.
But you might pick him too.
Go ahead.
Varric is pretty great.
Yeah, Varric is pretty great. Um, I actually have been thinking about this. Like I want to say Varric because for me like Korra wasn't my immediate choice like it was for you. I was actually kind of surprised when you said Korra.
Oh, I think she's a good character.
I didn't say she was a bad character. I just don't know if I'd go so far as to put her as my favorite. But then compared to a lot of other characters, I guess she's not that bad. At the end of the day, though, Varric is my favorite character as well because like he's funny and like at first where he's just kind of and we'll definitely get into this when he's first introduced I thought he was great but there was times when I was just like this guy's just too stupid for the sake of just being stupid and I've never really liked that so
there's a lot of characters like that in Korra which we'll probably get into as well.
Yeah, we probably will. But what always kind of bugged me was the stupidity for stupidity's sake. And in the later seasons of the show, that wasn't as huge of a thing as it was in the more early goings. But like I said, we'll definitely get into that more. But switching tones now from favorite to least favorite. This one I'm interested to see if our responses are the same. I think we might actually differ on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this one for a second.
Alright. In that case, I will go first. My least favorite character in The Legend of Korra, and I'm talking whole series now, because there's a couple of characters I could put in here strictly for how useless they end up being. Like they're introduced and they don't do anything. No, this character I'm talking about is a main character. He's in it the entire time, and I just can't. He got a lot better in the final season, but I just could not stand him at Bolin.
Oh Bolin. Yeah,
Bolin is my least favorite character, and. Like, I'm sure a ton of people will disagree with me on that. He's like, oh, he's a comic relief. He's so funny. No, fuck that. He is the full retard of Korra, and I fucking hated it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
season 2, I just wanted to, just, like, tear him to pieces. I just couldn't stand him at all. Like, I get... Like he was it was trying so hard to have him be Sokka.
But Sokka wasn't just stupid. He was
right.
The comic relief, but he was also the strategist of the team.
Yeah, whereas Bolin was stupid and had nothing, really. Like he could bend as well.
He got stuff later on, but that's
later
on.
Sure. Like in season 4, he got stuff to do, and like I said, we'll go over that more, but he got that stuff to do in season 4, and it made him a lot more tolerable, but, like, pretty much any time he, like, I don't mind puns and silly jokes. I mean, I've been rewatching fucking Digimon. That entire show is recycled transformation animations and fucking terrible puns.
Same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I've been rewatching.
Yeah, that's how those fucking kids shows were. But the thing with Bolin, and for him to be in such a really well written show, for him to be that kind of character was just kind of baffling to me, and I hated his jokes, like his stupid behavior, like the kind of behavior would it's not even like comic relief that he fucked up this bad. It's just, okay, he's a moron. Like, why would they take him anywhere?
Yeah, like, one of the weaknesses, even as much as I love the franchise, one of the weaknesses of it has always been, even in The Last Airbender, like, the character-based comic relief wasn't always that, like, polished. And I think having a character that's supposed to be all that in Korra, like, really showed that weakness.
I agree. And Bolin definitely showed that weakness. Like, I think of the best example is, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. It was in season 2, which, again, is already kind of the ass of the of the seasons, like the definite black sheep. But there's a part where he's supposed to, I think he's supposed to pay off a judge or something like that. And he's supposed to give money to a specific person. He's supposed to give money to the judge. And, like, he's talking with Asami, and she's like, oh, did you make sure you paid off the judge? And he's like, yeah, I think I got him good and paid off. And it's like, and then they look over to two random fucking dudes, and they're just like, I guess we just have a shitload of money now. And Bolin's just, like, puts his thumbs up, like, yeah, that was right. And Asami just face palms, and it's like, no, like, that wouldn't be a face palm. It's like, wow, you fucked up in an almost unimaginable way.
Or
please never go along with me in anything I do again.
Or, like, the very end of, like, season 3, they've just taken down, like, one of the best bad guys in the entire franchise, and they end it with a stupid Bolin pun.
Oh, where he puts the sock in his mouth.
Yeah. Oh, look, I put a sock in it.
That made me so mad.
That was really terrible. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, why would they do this? Whose idea was this? How dare you?
Like,
yeah, I was not pleased.
Me neither. Bolin, he's not my least favorite character, mostly just because I think in season 4 he's actually not just tolerable, but really, really, like, great. I think he's a really important part of that final season, and why it's so good. Like, just the character development that they gave to him was actually really good, which just kind of makes the earlier parts where he was kind of terrible more terrible, I guess.
Yeah. For me, I guess for me it was just like a day late and $1 short.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not so much $1 short. I think it was just too late, really, for me.
Yeah, I see.
Like, I'd already kind of made up my mind on the character. Like, as much as I was happy that he was not as shit as he was, like, I still did not like him. So. But who is your least favorite character, now that my Bolin rants have given you some time to think?
Now that I've had time to think about it, I'm gonna go with Mako.
I figured that would be yours.
Because he is just completely worthless.
He was my number 2. What is it with these series and my least favorite characters always being mains?
I don't know. It's so like, Mako is, if you gender flipped any other series, you would have, like, the main character who is really well developed and really interesting, and then you'd have their love interest who is just the girl who has, like, no defining traits, and you just gender flip that and you get Korra and Mako.
Mako is definitely the most girl of Korra. And when I say that, I of course mean the generic love interest. In most series, is just the girl character.
Yeah, but this time it's just the guy.
He is the guy. And they try and do things with him, like, oh, he works... Oh, now he's a cop. Like, because at first he was just like a fucking Dickensian street urchin, and now he's a professional bender, and now he's a cop, and now he's turned into cardboard. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And now he just stands around and watches this other terrible character. Isn't that fun?
Well, it's interesting because, like, going off of, like, both your and my least favorite characters, their best moments are when they're together and they're acting like brothers.
Yeah.
And they could have done so much more with that.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll get into the fucking majesty that is season 4 of The Legend of Korra, and I absolutely mean that when I say it's fucking majestic. And that's definitely when, like, everything improves, like, every character who had ever been, like, terrible, well, not all of them, but most characters who you'd gone through the entire series, like, hopefully they get something really cool to do, and they do, and both, in fairness, both Mako and Bolin do get really cool moments. Bolin more than Mako.
Yeah,
in
Bolin gets a
season 4.
ton. Bolin gets a ton.
Bolin gets a lot. Mako gets 1 or 2.
Yeah, Mako gets, like, a really cool moment in the finale, and then maybe a couple smaller moments before
here
that.
And there. Yeah. But I made a few exceptions when I brought up this question, because there's a couple of characters who kind of came to mind when I was thinking about this, and we'll touch on them a little bit more when we actually get into the kind of recap parts. But I guess I'll just say as like a dishonorable mention. The only reason I didn't pick this character is because he was like these. There's two characters. I didn't pick them because one of them was only in it for season 4, and one of them was only in it for little bits of season 3 and 4, and that would be Kai and Prince Wu. And the reason why I didn't pick them is just because Bolin had been in everything and had been terrible throughout most of it. As opposed to just being kind of a useless scrub who just hangs out on the sidelines. Or a piece of shit like Wu.
Yeah, I thought about saying Wu, but when I thought about it, it was the same rationale.
He wasn't in it long enough.
Yeah,
had he been around since the beginning, I would have had no qualms picking Prince Wu over Bolin. But with that said, I think let's actually talk about the series as a whole now, like starting from the beginning, because it is an interesting story, both kind of in the show itself and behind the scenes. So I guess I'll start with we'll talk about season 1, and we will go from there. So if there's anything you'd like to add as I'm recapping this, by all means, don't hesitate to jump in and give your 2 cents.
Sure, of course.
So, April 2012 is when we go back to, and it was maybe 3-4 years since the final season of The Last Airbender.
And that sounds right.
I'm assuming it is. So it takes place many, many, many years after the end of that. We start off with a new avatar named Korra, who is in the Water Tribe, and by the time she is a teenager and the series starts proper, she has mastered most of the elements at this point, with the exception of airbending, because her kind of hot-headed nature makes it difficult for her to really get the kind of spiritual ways of the air nomads, which I think is actually a really interesting character conflict.
Yeah, like she's kind of the opposite of Aang in a lot of ways, and that's one of the reasons why I said that she was my favorite, is because and she has a really good character arc, like
yes,
through the entire series.
I agree. But anyway, she is training with the previous avatar, Aang, who is now dead, along with most of the other characters that you learn to love from The Last Airbender.
But not all of them.
Not all of them. Actually, really only a couple of them. I think it's just Aang and Sokka. Now that I think about it, I think it's just 2. Because the others are still kicking around. But anyway, so she is learning with Aang's son Tenzin. He is trying to teach her airbending, and their personalities clash a lot because Tenzin is very much a student of the spiritual nature of the air nomads, whereas Korra is not. And
Tenzin's really set in like having a very specific teaching style.
Yeah, and Korra has a very set, I'm gonna break that style. But she is training with him on a place called Air Temple Island, and it's, a short ferry ride away from the new city that has been built by Aang and Zuko, like in between between Last Airbender and Korra, which is actually kind of covered a little bit in the Avatar comics, which are pretty good if you haven't read them. I recommend you check them out because they're fucking awesome. Korra is, kind of drawn in by the allure of this city, Republic City, where kind of non-benders and benders all live from, like, kind of all walks of life.
Yeah, from all the different nations.
Yep, from all the different nations. They all live there. And she meets these 2 guys Bolin and Mako, who are professional benders, which I thought was a really cool thing, and I think we can talk about this now because it really doesn't come back up again, really. And that is pro bending, and I thought that was a really cool thing that they introduced, and I wish they'd have. I mean, I understand why it wasn't covered, why they didn't really do much more with it in later seasons, because it didn't really fit, but I thought it was a really cool concept that I was kind of sad to see go, because those, I mean, I guess you could call them fights, they always looked interesting, and it was really cool to watch the three different characters, you know. I mean, the animation by Studio Mir is so good.
Yeah,
you know, watching them
do really good.
Watching them do these, like, you know, karate and these different martial arts style movements and bending with them. You had 3 benders of 3 different forms doing this.
Yeah.
You know, at the same time, and they all worked in tandem. It always looked really cool.
Yeah, and it was always kind of, like, interestingly done, and, like, they could have done, like, a lot more with it, but at the same time, like you said, it doesn't really fit with the other seasons. But
exactly.
At the same time, I can kind of imagine a series, like, based around that as, like, the main premise.
Yeah, like a sports show about it.
Yeah, like a sports manga only.
Yeah, like a sports manga. Like a sports show, like an Eye Shield 21 or something like that, or Ace of the Diamond, whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna speed up the recap a little bit because I'm kind of moving through it kind of slow. Basically, our villain is introduced. His name is Amon, and he's part of a group of people called the Equalists, who are non-benders, who are basically kind of pissed off at how, you know, the benders are kind of, I don't want to say rubbing it in, but like he doesn't like the benders, basically, and they are just kind of acting like dicks for a little bit. And like
basically the anti-benders, the non-benders want to take away the benders bending, and then there's also a council member on the city council who wants to punish the non-benders and, like, segregate them.
For my own in-jokey purposes, what is his name?
Oh, jeez. I could never remember any of the Water Tribe members' names in Korra.
Our viewers will not understand this. His name is Tarlock. And I know it's never a good idea to explain an in-joke, but for those of you viewers who are interested, Gray has often mistaken Tarlock, and it is an acceptable mistake. He has often confused Tarlock with Tonrock, being Korra's father. And I think one time you called him Unalak, which is Korra's uncle and the villain of season 2.
And then the leader of the non-benders, we learned that his name, his real name, is also some weird Water Tribe thing that sounds very similar.
Noatak is Amon's real name, is Noatak. But anyway, so they're trying to take away the benders' bending power, which kind of puts, you know, the Korra and Mako and Bolin, it kind of moves them into action, and Korra's got her first, like, real kind of job as an avatar, something to actually kind of try and help people now. She's faced with a legitimate crisis. And she also, this is important, very important, a character gets introduced by the name of Asami, who is, at first, she is just kind of introduced as as just a girl character at the very beginning. It's just like, at least it seemed that way, but she's given a lot more to do, at least in terms of just backstory. She's given kind of an important role in that she's the sponsor for the pro bending team that Korra's on, and then she joins Mako, Bolin, and Korra as part of Team Avatar. And it's also revealed that her father, Hiroshi, has been building like the mechs, like the mech weapons for the Equalists and
the
Amon.
Shocky gloves.
And the Shocky gloves that they use. and like the big shocky sticks that the Lance Henriksen lieutenant uses.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. I'm really sad that Lance Henriksen was in Korra for only one season because, goddamn, his voice is majestic.
And such a bit role too.
Yeah, I wish he had returned, even if it was just in small capacity. I would have, because I don't think the lieutenant dies, like he walks away. I think, right?
I think so.
If I'm remembering correctly, like they basically, like they have quite a few fights with him, and like at the end he kind of realizes that. I'm pretty sure it's before Amon is defeated. I remember because he takes off his helmet and he's like really upset that his like worldview has to change now, and I think he just kind of leaves. But I wish he had come back in some small way.
Yeah, just some way.
In some small way. I mean, not to shoehorn him in, but it would have been nice. Anyway, so they find out that Asami's father is funding basically these equalists, and now everybody's been called to action to kind of fight against them. They do some of those reveals that we've already revealed, like Tarlok is Amon's brother, and Amon is really named Noatak, and
they were the son of a crime lord who used bloodbending.
Yep, who used bloodbending, which had been outlawed because Katara didn't like it.
Aang takes his bending away in a flashback.
Yep, and do you remember the father's name?
Nope.
Yakone.
Yakone, that's right.
Yakone, played by, what's his name? Fucking Mr. Krabs.
Oh.
Why am I blanking on his name? That's not good. What is his name? Oh, no.
He was in Highlander, too.
He was in Shawshank. I know his name. Oh, this is bugging me. I don't care. I'm looking it up because it's. We'll have to stop the podcast.
Record it all over again.
Yeah, we'll have to record again. Sorry, folks. It's all over. Clancy Brown.
That's right.
It's played by Clancy Brown.
You got it.
Glad I looked it up. Thank you, Google. You've never lied to me yet. But anyway. So it turns out Clancy Brown is a bad guy again, and Aang takes away his bending powers, and he's basically a huge dick. So there's a lot of connection between the previous Avatar and the new one, and there comes a time when Amon / Noatak, whatever, takes away Korra's bending and her ability to speak with Aang. So now she's got to figure everything out on her own, and she doesn't have her bending power. So in her final fight with Amon, she needs to, she needs to gain the ability to airbend and defeat him. And that's when it leads into kind of the moment that people kind of say is, I don't want to use the word worst because it's not the studio's fault. Because originally Korra was. I'm skipping a lot of shit. Yes.
Yeah. Well, there was one moment that I wanted to talk about in particular.
Well, I'm not a mind reader, so please, what moment are you thinking of?
That last scene with Tarlok?
Oh, I wasn't gonna skip that. I was not gonna skip that. Don't you worry.
Are you gonna?
I am going to get to that. I wasn't going to skip that. I thought you were talking about something else. I was like, what the fuck kind of minor-ass thing?
Although we are forgetting also Lin
the
Bei
one...
Fong.
Yes, I knew I was leaving out Lin Bei Fong. There were two things that I kind of knowingly left out. One of which you could argue is a major thing. Well, Lin Bei Fong's a major thing. The other one you could argue is a major thing. And that was Amon removing Tarlok's bending powers. That happens, but that's before Tarlok knows that it's Amon is Noatak and all that shit. Mm-hmm. So, but yes, I did leave out Lin Bei Fong, who is the chief of police of Republic City, and she's a metal bender, and she's the daughter of Toph from the original series. And, yeah, she's pretty freaking cool, and she's played by Frau Farbissina.
Yeah, and the freaking police force of the city use, metal bending, and they have these grappling hooks, and they grapple all over the place, and it's awesome.
I think they're called 3D maneuver gear.
Or thorns.
Or thorns. If you, oh god, no one's gonna get that reference but me. If you've played Freedom Wars, you're a good person in my book. But yes, I did leave those two things out. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, back to my original train of thought. Originally, The Legend of Korra was only ordered by Nickelodeon to be a short series, one season. And it was just a 12-episode thing, so at the end of Korra, a lot of things ended up getting kind of rushed together, which is why one of the things I'm about to explain happens. Before that, there's the moment you were talking about. There is probably one of the darker moments, not the darkest, we'll get into that. One of the darker moments of the series is Korra gets the ability to airbend. She defeats Amon, and he is not captured, and he and Tarlok kind of get together and they run away. They get on a boat, and then they try
They're
to.
on a boat.
They're on a boat, motherfucker! Don't you ever forget. And they're making their way downtown. Faces past, and they're home now. Oh, god damn it. So they're on a boat, and they're not trying to get away. They're leaving, and they're talking about like everything, like how their father was a douche and how they were kind of douches themselves, as like they were the family douche, and I think that was like their last name. It's like Mr. Douche, and so what Tarlok does in a teary-eyed moment is he takes one of the shocky gloves and blows up the engine of the boat in the first murder-suicide ever featured on Nickelodeon. So there was that. And I know you said you wanted to talk about it. Is there anything you wanted to add to that particular bit before I finish up the recap?
It's just like jarringly dark in a season where they went out of their way to show like pilots jumping out of planes before they explode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I do remember that. Yeah, before a plane would explode, you'd see they would make sure to like almost kind of zoom in on it, like, see, he's not dead. But then there's these two who's just like, nah, they're done. There's no parachute in a boat.
There's also like I thought that like there was a big moment like later in a later season where Mako gets his like electricity bending, but apparently he does it here first in like a blink and you'll miss it scene.
I still don't remember it. People tell me that happened, but I don't believe them. I don't recall. But yeah, they don't cut to seeing either of them wearing water wingies. Like, you see the boat, the boat exploded, but they're really fine. No, they're fucking dead.
Yeah.
And then the series is resolved very, very quickly. Well, that season is resolved very, very quickly, as once Amon is dead, Korra regains her ability to speak to Aang, and he gives everybody back gives her the ability to add people's bending back, and she gives everybody back their bending who had lost it, except for Tarlok because he's dead.
Yeah.
So, and that was the end of season 1. It did very, very fucking well, so they were like, I guess we should do more. And it was Korra was picked up for 3 more seasons. And I think to avoid going too crazy in length, I know I did a terrible job, and I apologize. I'll do better with season 3.
Okay.
I think we should at least attempt to make our recaps a little bit shorter, so that way.
I'll try.
If you can't, don't worry about it, because, I like the sound of our voices, so...
Okay.
It's cool. So go ahead. We're gonna... Now, I will pass the baton to you,
Baton
so
pass.
you may talk about Season 2.
Pokemon.
Yes. Chris used baton pass.
Okay, so we've wrapped up season 1, and everything is wrapped up pretty neatly, because they thought it was only going to be a 1-season, one-off thing. And so a lot of the conflict is resolved at that point, and it's kind of like, at this point, the writers were like, where do we go from here? And where they went from there was season 2, and there's a lot of problems here, mostly stemming from the fact that they didn't know that they were going to get like more seasons, so they didn't really have like arcs planned. It's not like it was in the original series of The Last Airbender, where they had a definite storyline that went through every season, and everybody had like character arcs and things. So everybody gets something to do, but pretty much for everybody it's something terrible. So we've got Korra, and she's basically been reset character-wise. She's gone back to being really stubborn and like standoffish
in a really obnoxious way.
Yeah, her
and this is the reason why. Sorry to cut you off, but this is the reason why when we were talking about favorite characters, season 2 is pretty much the reason why I couldn't pick Korra as my favorite.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I was kind of like, let's just pretend like season 2 didn't happen in regards to Korra's character.
Because it's a reset anyway, who cares?
Yeah, but anyways, her and Mako are in a relationship romantically, but it's like on the rocks from the very beginning of the season. Mako is basically a shitty boyfriend through the season. He breaks up with Korra and then gets together with Asami, and Korra, because she loses her memory halfway through the season, doesn't realize that she hasn't broken up with Mako, and it's a mess and it's dumb. But they break up at the end, and the breakup is actually pretty well handled.
Yeah, I'll give them that.
Yeah, that was the best part of the season, was how maturely the breakup was handled. But Bolin by far gets like the worst story arc in this season. The first thing that happens is that he is arranged in a marriage to the daughter,
Korra's cousin.
Yeah, the Korra's cousin. She's got twin cousins who are the son and daughter of the chief of the North Pole, and basically the daughter falls in love with Bolin, and she's like all violent and possessive and stuff, so he doesn't like it. And then he becomes a mover star. Varric is introduced in this season, and he's like a famous inventor and a shipping magnate and like a super famous dude, and he creates the movers.
He's basically the Tony Stark of the Avatar universe.
Basically, or like the Howard Hughes.
Yeah, Howard Hughes is probably better, but
so he creates movers, and he makes Bolin a mover star, and Bolin gets like a thick head, and he becomes really terrible.
Yeah,
because it's really terrible, and he's just like selfish, and he does that thing with the judge.
That I mentioned earlier.
But in terms of actual plot, let's kind of reset to the beginning to talk about the actual plot here. Like I mentioned, the Chief of the North Pole comes into play, and it's Korra's uncle.
What's his name?
You said it earlier, Unalaq.
Yes. What are his kids' names?
Beavis and Butthead.
Eska and Desna.
I was close.
I would have accepted Daria for either one.
For either one.
Yeah, one of them's played by Alison Brie, and she is doing Daria. It's like, what if Daria was
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. What did I say? Alison Brie. Oh, fuck. I am so sorry. I was on top of that, too. Oh, fuck. My cred is done. Aubrey Plaza is doing Daria, but in Avatar.
And all possessive of Bolin for some reason.
Yeah, because he's such a fucking catch.
But anyways, going back to the main plot.
Yeah.
Her uncle, it comes into the picture. He is coming to the South Pole for, I can't remember what reason. It's like some festival or something.
Yeah, just some fucking festival where everyone's invited.
On the way there...
Pants Off, Dance Off is what I think it's called.
Yeah. And basically, while Unalaq is like traveling to the South Pole, like all around the world, people are reporting like rogue, savage spirits that are attacking, and Unalaq is able to like control them and calm them down. And Korra's like, I don't want to be your student, Tenzin, anymore. I want to be Unalaq's student and like learn how to control spirits like that because it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
granted, it is.
it is pretty cool. And then we learned that the chief Unalaq basically doesn't trust the South Pole. He wants to unite the North and South Pole together, and he's willing to do it through like basically any means possible.
Mm-hmm.
Korra at first doesn't want to believe that her uncle is like evil and stuff, but he so totally obviously is.
Yeah.
And he fights Korra's father, and a civil war breaks out. Varric comes down on the side of the South Pole, and he's like, but that's why he creates the movers, is because they're basically propaganda machines.
Yep.
And he makes like Nuktuk Hero of the North, or is it Hero of the North or Hero of the South?
Either or. I think I want to say South.
Yeah, it would be South because
the whole
was
point.
The South synthesizer.
Yeah.
So basically, they're propaganda. This war is breaking out between the two poles. Korra is conflicted on what side she wants to be on, and she tries to fight the spirits, but she's not able to do the spirit bending, so she gets attacked by one of the dark spirits, and this leads into the best part of the season by far.
Avatar 1.
Avatar 1. She goes into like this dream state where she has a flashback to the very first Avatar, and she learns like the backstory of how the Avatar world came to be, how the Avatar and the bending and all that came into existence, and it's really well done. Most of the season was animated by Studio Pierrot, who do like Naruto and Bleach, but for these episodes of the flashback with Wan, it was done by... They
went back to Studio Mir.
They did it with Studio Mir, and they did it in a completely different style from the rest of the series, and it's just beautiful.
It was really good. I love the Avatar 1 stuff. Yeah, definitely the like when you were saying earlier that like one of the best parts of season 2 was how well the breakup of Mako and Korra was handled. I was like, did he forget Avatar 1? But yeah,
I guess I did in that moment, but I remembered.
Moment, I give it to you. But yeah, the Avatar 1 stuff is great. I liked Wan's character. Like he wasn't like overtly annoying. Like he was a good character, and I liked like learning how all of this came to be. I thought was really cool too. And he's played by Steven Yeun, and he's in The Walking Dead, and that's really fucking cool.
Yep. And then I like the character of Wan too, because he's kind of like more morally ambiguous than the other avatars.
At least at first.
At first, and he's just got a cool arc where he learns to be like responsible for his actions, and
that's what I liked about him. I wouldn't say morally ambiguous, but like more learning responsibility and selflessness. I think is
whereas a lot of the other avatars are kind of like born into that.
Yeah.
And so after that, she comes out of it, but she's lost her memory, which leads to the confusion with Mako and the stupidity with Asami and Mako. And getting back to like the Civil War stuff, Varric uses subterfuge to try to frame the North Pole to get more sympathizers for the South Pole, which brings him into conflicts with Mako. He frames Mako and gets Mako sent to prison, and he also does a bunch of stuff to steal Asami's company from her.
Yep.
And basically he ends up getting caught in the end, thanks to Bolin. But before that, he does a bunch of stuff, and then there's a funny line where he's like, all I've done throughout this entire thing has been to help all you guys. Like, Korra, who warned you about the North Pole? Bolin, who made you a mover star? Asami, who saved your company from being stolen? And then Mako, I put you in prison.
But it's okay, because Mako sucks and Varric is great, so...
Yeah, Varric is, like, actually funny, unlike Bolin most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But after they've taken care of Varric, they're like, we need to stop Unalaq because, as Korra learned through the wand flashback stuff, there's an evil spirit that's the counterpart to the good spirit that's in the Avatar, and Unalaq wants to merge with this spirit and become a dark Avatar and basically take over the world.
Of course.
And there's spirit portals in the North Pole and the South Pole that he's using to get into the spirit world in order to do this, and they open it up to their maximum so that he can enter it at the, what do they call it? Convergence?
Harmonic convergence.
Yeah, the harmonic convergence causes the spirit portals to open all the way, and that's when he's gonna go in and merge with the dark spirit.
Do you remember the spirits' names?
No. Rava is one of them?
Rava is the good one. Do you remember the evil one? You asked me this the other day.
I forgot already.
Vatu.
Vatu. So basically, Harmonix Convergence is coming, so they only have so much time to stop Unalaq.
Yep.
We also learned, just as a little thing, that Unalaq had framed his brother Tonraq for destruction of the spirit forest in the north, which had caused Tonraq to be like banished to the South Pole.
Yeah, it's like one of the main themes of Avatar, like at least the Legend of Korra thus far, is don't have siblings.
Yeah.
They'll either murder you in a boat or frame you.
Or annoy you.
Or annoy you. Yeah. Or they'll use you as like a use you as a doormat, like Eska and Desna.
Yeah, here's what it is. Don't be Water Tribe and have siblings.
Yeah, no shit.
So basically, they have to go into the spirit world to stop Unalaq, but they're too late, and he fuses together with the dark spirit, and he turns into like a giant Godzilla thing, and is attacking Republic City, and it gets really kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
And Korra goes into like this ancient tree where the evil spirit used to be sealed up, and she like meditates there and turns into a giant version of herself and fights the Unalaq. What do they call him? Like Unavatu or something?
Yeah.
It's like the fan name for him, I think.
Yeah, Unavatu is that's the fan name for him. I don't think they have like an actual name for him other than the merge, like the dark avatar Unalaq merged with Vatu.
And they fight, and then there's another thing with Tenzin's daughter Jinora also helps. She unlocks her own spiritual powers and like helps Korra out.
And she becomes the compass of the series from that point on.
Yeah. And basically, this season is just a huge mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you
all said and done, it's a bit of a fucking shit show.
As you could probably tell by my like struggling and like jumping around to even tell like the whole story of what happens, it's pretty jumbled.
Yeah, and I think it was definitely a product of its kind of rushed production, courtesy of the fact that like, hey, by the way, you got a couple more seasons, do it up.
Yeah, I do want to give one more credit where credit's due. I thought the fight scene where that leads to Varric's arrest, where Bolin thwarts the staged kidnapping of the president of Republic City, that was actually really cool because
because it was set alongside the mover.
Yeah, everything he does like matches up with the mover that's playing behind them in the theater that they're in, and it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. That was a pretty cool moment, a pretty cool fight. But that moves us on ever so quickly to when the series completely rebounded. Studio Pierrot was given the proverbial Nickelodeon middle finger, and they would not again touch the series. Everything from here on out would be Studio Mir, and season 3 is where things picked up in a fantastic way. So season 3, and I will do season 3. Season 3 basically starts very, very quickly after the end of Season 2. I think it's like a couple of weeks. Harmonic Convergence already happened. It's over. I don't know if you said this. I don't think you did, but Korra basically allows the portals to stay open. Did you say that?
I forgot to mention that.
Well, yes, she basically, with the portals open, she allows basically kind of a permanent open door policy for the regular world and the spirit world, so, you know, the spirits can kind of move in and out as they please. Because of this, Korra is expelled from Republic City by its president, President Reiko, and at this time, at a similar time, a lot of people who did not have any bending powers at all suddenly discover that they have the ability to airbend now. So, considering that she's been kicked out of Republic City, which is something I think was for the best, because Republic City is, while a cool location, starting to grow kind of tired.
Yeah, because they've been there for 2 whole seasons.
Yeah, they were there for 2 seasons, so it's good that they finally get to go to other parts of this, you know, huge world that had already been set up in another series, so the fact that we get to see more of it 70 years later is pretty cool. So, basically, Korra and Tenzin set it upon themselves, like, they're basically going to rebuild the air nomads, because Tenzin's family is basically the only ones left. So, it's the new last airbenders.
Yeah.
So, now that there is a now that there is a new family, they can go and repopulate, which is wonderful. So they set out to do that. In the meantime, the villain of this season, whose name is Zahir, who is fucking awesome and is the best villain in the series, period. Mm-hmm. He escapes from... he is one of those people who gains the ability to airbend. And he manages to escape from a heavily guarded prison guarded by the... What are they, the White Lotus? Something like that? They're the White Lotus, yeah.
Red Lotus is the bad ones.
Red Lotus is the bad ones, because Lotus is always in... They have a White Lotus in Mortal Kombat, too, and it's fucking confusing.
I think it has to do with that board game they play.
Pai Sho?
Yeah.
Maybe. Probably. Yes, because one of the pieces is called a Lotus piece.
Yeah, and it's like white versus red.
Yeah, so they're the White Lotus, which is good. So, Zahir sets about to free other prisoners. The other ones aren't as interesting. Like, they just have like an earthbending guy, a waterbending girl, and one of the explosion benders.
Yeah, like the thing about the other guys is that they're memorable only for having like crazy powers.
Yeah.
Because there's the combustion woman.
Yep, combustion woman, Plea.
And then the earthbender is a lava bender.
Yep.
And then the waterbender, like, has no arms, so she uses water as, like, her arms.
Yep. I even though this is better, do you... I just gave you Plea and Zahir. Do you know the other 2 characters' names? The lava bender and the waterbender.
Do you?
I do.
I don't.
The lava bender's name was Gazan, and the waterbender, played by Great Alile, was Minghua.
Oh, okay. I don't think they say their names as much as the other 2.
They do not. Plea and Zahir get it more, but I remembered Gazan because I had to look it up before, when we originally recorded this. I had to look up his name because I couldn't remember it. I knew Minghua because it was Great Alile. But anyway, so Zahir's setting all of them free, and basically Korra and Tenzin, they're setting out to find more airbenders, and they find one. Well, they find more than one, but the one kid they focus on is a thief, like this young boy who is a thief, and his name is Kai, and he's like immediately brought under suspicion by like Mako, and only Mako, really.
They could have done so much more with that, and it would have been so much better for both of their characters.
Yeah, it would have. And they travel to, their goal is to go to Ba Sing Se to see if there's because they believe there was going to be a large population of new airbenders there. But the queen of Ba Sing Se says that there are none. Basically what ends up happening is she's full of shit. And she's basically using them as like I think she's using them as like an army, like her own personal like army.
Yeah.
Is what she's trying to use them for.
That is correct.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of what happens next. I know they go to Zhaofu. That happened. I think that's what happens next. After, like, the queen is basically like, no, there's no one here. Mahaha. Does the queen tell them to go to? I'm doing the stream of conscious, which is a terrible idea, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, they go to Zhaofu, and it's led by Suyin Beifeng, who is Lin's half sister, and I know this just because I watched the 1998 Gus Van Sant Psycho the other day, but Suyin Beifeng's voice actress is actually Anne Hesh, who is Marion in Psycho.
Oh, cool.
Little fun random trivia, because I haven't given you enough tonight. Yeah, take that to trivia night. Suyin Beifeng is played by Marion from Psycho, and Daria was Allison Brie.
And Kuvira is Robin Williams' daughter.
Yeah, but leave out that second one though. Daria is not Allison Brie. It's Aubrey Plaza, and I was dumb. I had a moment of dumb. I was thinking about the right person, but said the wrong one.
Whoops.
Oopsie. It's a mistake. We all make them. But anyway, so they grab some airbenders, and I think they kidnap the Ba Sing Se ones, and they take them back to Air Temple Island.
They, with the help of the people at, you kind of skipped over a lot of stuff at
I skip
Zhaofu.
over a lot of stuff all the time. Yeah, well, I said they went to Zhaofu.
Basically,
is that enough for you?
No, not really, because Korra learns to metal bend there. Bolin's upset because he can't metal bend.
That's right.
Basically, they get Zhaofu's help, and they go back and rescue the airbenders.
Then they kidnap the airbenders and take them back to Airbender Island. That's what that place was called.
Liberty Island.
It's Air Temple Island.
The Statue of Liberty Island.
That's in the middle. That's not the Air Temple Island. It's Statue of Aang Bertie.
Okay.
Because it's just Aang. He's the only. Why is he the only one who gets a statue?
Yeah. Well, because he was the one who. Oh, why doesn't Zuko get a statue?
Yeah. Maybe because it's in like this. They go into this more in the next season. Maybe because it's on Earthbender territory. They don't want a statue of the Fire Lord hanging over them.
Maybe.
I guess that makes sense. But still, like, why not like a Sokka, or maybe they hang around at his feet. Like little mini statues for the rest of the original Team Avatar.
Like that statue in Harry Potter where like the wizard's really big and then like all the other species are just like really small around him.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. Fucking little bit of fucking arrogance from Aang. Why not? Anyway, where was I? So Tenzin is trying to teach these new airbenders about airbender kind of culture, and they're not really getting it because that it's not something they're used to, and it kind of puts Tenzin at odds with his siblings, which again, as proven in the series, siblings are a terrible thing to have.
Yeah.
Is he basically argues with his brother Boomy, who is one of the new airbenders, about his teaching styles, how nobody's getting it, shit like that. Jesus, why am I so bad at remembering what happened? I should have studied up. You're gonna have to fill in a bunch of the blanks because there's gonna be a huge blank.
I'm trying to remember the order of things now because I know everything that happens, but I'm not quite sure on the order. Right. I know Zahir infiltrates the airbenders.
Yes, he does. He infiltrates the Air Temple Island. and he basically fucks shit up for a little bit, but everybody escapes because it's all cool. And it's a fun, family-friendly series. And then the next scene, Zahir kills a lady. And
I think you're going a little too far because the next thing that happens is
friendly.
Like Korra and gang are still in.
They're still in Jiaofu.
They're still in Zhaofu. They've returned there. So Lin makes happy
with her sister, who they were estranged. Yeah, I'm a bad recapper. It's been a while.
Zahir has met up with his cronies and they attack Zhaofu. Yeah, and they fill it with lava.
Dicks. And then they leave to go to Ba Sing Se.
And then they
but I can't remember why.
To kill the queen.
Well, no, they tried to trick her though. They said they were they were pretending to be mercenaries. They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll capture these airbenders for you." It was like, "Ha ha ha, just kidding." And then they kill her.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what happens. They go, "Ha ha ha, we were just kidding." And then in the darkest scene,
yep,
in all of Avatar, I remember this one well enough. I may not be great with little details, but I sure do remember major plot lines and random fucking trivia and characters' names. I'm really good with that. Anyway, so Zahir, in one of the coolest, darkest moments in Avatar, he basically makes like an air scooter, and he puts it over the Queen of Ba Sing Se's face and suffocates her.
Yeah, and like they linger on it too. It's not just like a cutaway thing.
Yeah, it's not like he put, like, you see the shot of him putting it over her face, and then it cuts to him as he's just, like, kind of, like, smiling evilly. It's like, no, it's like, you see her face as she's, like, dying.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty fucking dark and very awesome.
Do you remember what happens after this?
They fight and the day is saved.
Basically, Korra and her group, they realize that Zhaofu is basically impenetrable and unassailable, so they figure that somebody must have betrayed Zhaofu in order for Zahir's cronies to have attacked.
Yes, that is right.
And so they go through and they interrogate everybody, and they find out that it's like a guy who is the like resident like truth seeker guy. Like he can do the thing that Toph could do, where she could tell when people were lying based on earthbending. Yeah,
which is really cool. Yeah, that's like a really cool interest. I wish they had. I wish more characters could do that, because that's such a... Well, no, I don't wish that more characters could do that. I wish they showed characters using that more.
Yeah, but it turns out that basically because he was the only one who could have lied, he was the one who was lying and had betrayed them. And so they basically try to follow him, and they go out to like this desert spring town.
Yeah.
Where
this is before they kill the queen.
It is.
Yes.
I think we have like the events like all out of order, but
we do.
At least we get all of them.
Yes,
that's the important part.
And because I gain immense pleasure from this, what is his name?
The truth teller?
Yeah.
I don't.
Aiwei.
Aiwei? I was going to say it started with a B.
It did not. It started with an A.
I think I was thinking of Batar Jr.
No, that is one of Suyin's sons.
Yes, but
oh, man. Anyway, they go to the desert spring. Yes, they do.
Do you remember what happens there?
Zahir throws Aiwei into the fog.
Yeah, basically they follow Aiwei into the spirit world, Korra does, and she sees Zahir throw him like into the fog, and she tries to confront Zahir, but Zahir like is just like, won't have any of it.
And he pieces out.
He does give her that speech where he explains his motivations that make him the best villain.
Yeah, he's an anarchist.
Yeah, and he's got a good point, because he's like all these people in the history of this series, in the history of this world, have like abused their power.
Mm-hmm. Like anybody who had some semblance of authority has been really shit at it.
Yeah, so he's like, we're gonna kill all the leaders of the world, and we're gonna kill the Avatar, and just have like pure anarchy.
Mm-hmm. Because he's like, you can't have order without anarchy is basically his reasoning, and it's probably one of the most mature motivations. And when I say mature, I mean like, like that's, a lot of kids probably don't really get that, but maybe I'm not giving them enough credit. But when you compare their motivations to that of the other two villains,
Or even Ozai.
or even Ozai was just a haha, I'm a kooky Looney Tune and I want all the power, tee hee. That was his motivations. And you go to Amon he was like, I want everybody to be equal, but my methodology is that of I'm a kooky Looney Tune, I want power, tee hee. And then you have Unalaq, who was, I want to be the very best like no one ever was, and to do that I'm gonna be a kooky Looney Tune, I want all the power, tee hee. And Zahir was not that.
Yeah.
He wasn't some mustache twirling Looney Tune kook. He was like, he had an actual motivation, and he just happened to be really fucking powerful.
Yeah. And then Zahir kills the queen, and then he goes and he like kidnaps all the new airbenders, and he like has this like ultimatum to Korra, like, give yourself up and I'll let all the new airbenders go.
Yeah.
And that leads to the big climatic fight, which
Yep.
is super awesome beginning to finish, except for the
Yes.
sock.
Yeah. Gross. Yes. They have their super awesome final fight. One thing I really liked, again, just talking about Zahir and how he's awesome. Like, the voice actor who plays him is Henry Rollins. Does a fucking awesome job. I really like Zahir. Really like Zahir. I love just sometimes you don't always need like a catchphrase for a villain to be memorable, but I still loved what Zahir said. The whole like, let go of your earthly tether, enter the void, become wind. I was like, oh, that's such a cool thing to say.
Yeah.
It's edgy as fuck, but I still love it.
Well, it's not just like edgy; it's also like spiritual, which is a big part of his character.
Yeah, and I like that a lot. So, but yeah, they have their awesome final battle between like all of Team Avatar and against Zahir and his essentially his chumps.
Like Tenzin gets a really cool like part where he's like fighting all of them at once.
Yeah, which is really cool, and it was a really good moment for him.
Sue and Lin get a part where they kill Pai Li in a pretty gruesome manner.
Yeah, they basically metal bend like a makeshift helmet around her face as she's using her combustion bending, and it explodes and it kills her.
And that's why Zahir can fly, because he was able to let go of like his. That was the only thing that was attaching him to the material world, was his love for Pai Li.
Yeah, that's all he had left, and once you let go of everything, you have the ability to fly, and so he can fly now, and he has a really awesome final battle against Korra, and they managed to defeat her. Defeat him. I'm sorry.
Although they do capture Korra and poison her as well.
Yes, I have
That's
more
an
shit
important
that I
part
forget.
too.
Oops. Yeah, that happens before what I just
Yeah.
said. Before they defeat him, he captures Korra and poisons her.
And Bolin gets lava bending.
Yep. And apparently, like they said, Mako apparently already had his electricity bending, but I think he gets it here.
Yeah,
I feel like
maybe.
he got it here. Because that's how he kills Great Alile.
Yeah. It seems like it would be not like a big moment if he already had it.
Yeah, I don't think he had it, because unless it was like in a blink and you'll miss moment, like I don't think he had it. Maybe someone in the comments can tell us if we're wrong.
Yeah, please do.
Please do, because we don't know. But anyway, they managed to defeat Zahir, and Su Yin tries to metal bend as much of the poison as she can out of Korra. Not to no avail, but they show her, like, it's a couple weeks later, like, Korra's in a wheelchair, and it's during a ceremony for Tenzin's daughter, Jinora, getting her blue arrow tattoos.
Yeah, because she invented a new technique by having all the airbenders work together to make a big tornado to defeat Zahir.
Yeah, you think somebody would have thought of that, but apparently no, they didn't. And she gets a tattoo. But hey, whatever. I mean, Aang's thing was a scooter, so
That was later used to kill the queen.
very true. So don't diss it till you fucking use it to kill somebody.
I'm gonna kill you with my giant tornado of friendship.
Wait a minute, what? And thus ended season 3, and
With
you
the
did.
sock in the mouth.
Yeah, I tried to skip it. Yes, that happens after they've captured Zahir, and he's angrily talking about how angry he is and how awesome he is. Bolin shoves a sock in his mouth and says, "I put a sock in it, and I wanted to kill him."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I wish somebody would fucking shove a shotgun in your mouth. You asshole, I hate you. But thus ended season 3, and now we move on to the final season. Book 4, Balance.
This was really good.
This was fucking excellent. And came very quickly after the finale of season 3.
Yeah, do you want me to go into, like, the recap?
Yeah, I'll have you do the recap. Beforehand, I kind of want to talk about... I want to talk about this now, because I don't want to... Because I prefer not to end our recap on a more unfortunate note, even though we're going to get into something similar later. I want to talk very briefly about Nickelodeon and Nick.com and their treatment of this series. Season 3, which was an excellent season, had the unfortunate problem of being posted on Nick.com, and also had the unfortunate problem of having all of its episodes posted leaked early.
Yeah.
To the point where it got taken off of TV and was exclusively posted on Nick.com for the rest of its... I think maybe 8 episodes were leaked in the very beginning, and it was airing alongside the Nickelodeon channel. The television channel was being launched at the same time as the Nick.com. And by the way, for those of you who have had the unfortunate... the misfortune of using the Nick.com player, I'm sure you'll agree, but fuck that website.
Yeah.
If there is one thing if there would be one upside to the Avatar series being done, is I wouldn't have to use the goddamn Nick.com player anymore. I now have no reason to ever visit that fucking garbage website again.
Yeah.
Just
terrible to navigate that.
Terrible navigation, horrible user interface. Fucking, it looks stupid most of the time. It's just a terrible player, and the fact that Nickelodeon themselves just have no idea what to do with this series, which is better than anything they've ever fucking had.
Yeah.
Is just really baffling to me. So, alright, I wanted to do that rant, so you may go on to our recap now.
Okay, so, this season opens up, and it's several,
3 years. 3 years.
3 years. I forgot it was that long.
Yeah, it was a time skip. Huge time skip. Everybody's older now, remember?
Yeah. Huge time skip. We're in the future now. And...
Well said.
Everybody's kind of, ended up in different places and gone their own separate ways. Mako is, now the bodyguard of this shithead prince who's going to be the next Earth King.
Took him 3 fucking years.
Yeah.
That's the thing that surprised me, was it took him so goddamn long.
Well, on the other hand, the Earth Kingdom was in shambles after the death of the Earth Queen, so there was chaos for a very long time.
It's a very good point. Zahir and crew did set fire to Ba Sing Se.
The impenetrable city, and they just burnt it to the ground.
They immolated it.
As for Mako is, he's taking care of this prince who's a total shithead, but he's lined up to be the next Earth King. Bolin is with Kuvira, who was one of Su Yin's like guards at Zaofu.
Yeah.
All these
shown
these, like,
very, very briefly at the end of season 3.
all these like faux Chinese names are like messing with me.
Hey, you got Kuvira and Su Yin right, so.
Yeah. So Kuvira is now trying to reunite the Earth Kingdom now that it's in shambles, as we said. And she's doing a pretty good job, which has made her much, much more popular with the Earth Kingdom citizens than Prince Wu. And so she has a lot of sympathizers, and she's got her own army, and she's kind of going through and like taking places by force.
They're calling her the Great Uniter.
Yeah, they're calling her the Great Uniter, but we see some of her actual methods, and she's kind of going in and forcing people to like comply with her and unite with her empire. And Bolin is working for her, and he's at first it doesn't seem like she's that bad, and at first like even we were like maybe they'll do like she's obviously the antagonist, but maybe they'll do more of a even-handed thing where it's more like ambiguous. But
her alignment, yeah.
They kind of go a little quickly into like she's a total dictator Hitler analog pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, they do that rather quick. It was like 1 minute you're saying, hopefully they be a little more... Yeah, oh, okay, she's doing white power. Cool. All right.
Yeah, so that's happening. Meanwhile, Asami's rebuilt her company. She's created this big railway across the entire... uniting all the different parts of the world with this big railway. And Korra is nowhere to be seen. They thought that she was like training and recovering, and then she was going to go and see her friends, but they haven't seen her, and she's basically just disappeared off the face of the earth, and nobody's heard from her.
Yep.
And then we see where she's been. The only person she's been in contact with is Asami, which ends up actually being quite important. And she's basically participating in underground fights in Republic City. She's hid her identity and changed her clothes and hair, and basically she's basically doing soul searching through underground fights. And she sees this like shadow version of herself, and she tries to follow it, and it ends up leading her to Toph.
Yay, Toph!
Yay, Toph!
Granny Toph.
Granny Toph, who's all old and stuff now.
But still very much Toph.
But still very much Toph, and like, if she was in it for more, I would have said that she was my favorite character. Because she was like really amazing here.
Yeah. But you know what? I think it was good that she wasn't kept in it for very long, because she was a great surprise when she appeared, because keep in mind, to this point, I think most people probably thought, because maybe they went over it when Su Yin and Lin Beifeng were like kind of having their arguments and making up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they ever said like, oh yeah, by the way, Toph is alive, but I think
it was always kind of implied
that she was alive.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was going to say, as far as the audience knew, at this point,
we didn't have any confirmation either way.
We had no confirmation, so I think most people, considering that Aang and Sokka are dead, I think most people just figured, yeah, Toph's probably dead too.
Yeah.
Just shit luck.
But she's Korra meets up with Toph, and she's like, you should train me.
She's a grumpy codger.
But she's like a grumpy old lady, and she's like, no, train your fucking self. And Toph basically tells her that she can't train her because the poison from Zahir is still inside her body, and also basically she has PTSD from what happened. She keeps having like flashbacks to being attacked by Zahir and fighting him, and she keeps like just reliving that
over and over. Yeah. But you know what, you said to train your fucking self. It's like, you know what, had Avatar been on like FX, that would have been the actual line.
And probably. Can you say fuck on? FX.
Maybe one per season, because
Maybe.
well, you can
That would
on
be the one.
you can on like AMC, because I know on Breaking Bad, it's a fuck you and your eyebrows.
Yeah,
That was their one
in that season.
in that season specifically. Yeah.
But anyways,
Please proceed.
so she still has, even though she's like done a lot to recover, and they do show like her recovering, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
And her like working hard to get like to a place where she could even just like walk and stand and stuff. And so she's come far, but she still has more to overcome. And Toph tells her part of it is that you're conflicted about the fact that all of your enemies in the past had like good points about what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's like you said earlier, Amon wanted equality, Unalak wanted
Unity,
spiritual balance,
Yeah, spiritual balance.
and what's this? Zahir.
Zahir.
Why couldn't I remember his name for a second there? Zahir wanted everybody to be free from like tyranny and authority.
Mm-hmm.
So they all wanted good things, and Toph's like, maybe you, instead of running away from your enemies and your fears, maybe there's something you can learn from them. And eventually, Korra is able to remove all of the poison from herself by her own diligent training with Toph.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, cool, I'm all better now. And she goes and reunites with her friends, and they all meet up, and there's a nice reunion between all of them.
Yeah.
They save Prince Wu, who gets kidnapped by Kuvira's sympathizers, who don't want him to become the king.
Granted, neither would I.
Nobody would. I think it's funny that instead of like them trying to shoot him, at one point they're trying to throw pies at him. That's like such a weird censorship thing.
Yeah.
And then Su Yin tries to confront Kuvira. I can't talk right now.
She confronts Confira.
She confronts Kuvira, and she's like, hey, this thing that you're doing, you're going too far. Maybe you should like pull it back a little bit. And Zahir, not Zahir, Kuvira's just like, I don't think so, mate.
I don't fucking think so, mate. Yeah, sounds just like Zelda Williams.
And she's like, she tries to take over Zhao Fu, and Su Yin's not having any of that. She tries to assassinate Zahir. Why do I keep saying Zahir instead of Kuvira?
Because you're fucked up right now. Maybe you've
I
been
know.
poisoned too.
Maybe I've been poisoned too. Kuvira, she tries to murder her in like her sleep, but it goes awry, and her sons that were sympathetic with her and trying to help her, all get arrested.
Yep. One thing to quickly mention: one of her sons, one of Su Yin's sons, is Kuvira's husband. I don't know if it's husband to be or they are actually married at this point.
I think they're just like engaged at that point.
Yeah. So, and that is Batar Jr.
And they go into like the reason why Kuvira started doing what she was doing is because she thought Su Yin's policy was too soft. She thought that Su Yin should have stepped in and become the new ruler of the Earth Kingdom when it was in need of a new ruler. And so she was like, I don't agree with your methods, you're too soft, so I'm going to go off and do this on my own.
Yeah.
And unite the Earth Kingdom my own way. Korra, Janora and a bunch of other people get like kidnapped by angry spirits that are angry that Kuvira has started cutting down spirit vines for her own purposes, which we learn about later.
Janora perennially kidnapped.
Yeah, she gets kidnapped quite a bit.
She does.
She's like
She's the damsel in distress.
She's the Mokuba.
For everybody.
She's the Mokuba.
Constantly. She is the Mokuba. And they give her, like, importance, too. They're like, oh, yeah, she's got her fucking airbending tattoos and everything. She's a compass who gets kidnapped.
Yeah, so basically, Korra needs to find a way to appease these spirits, but she can't get into the spirit world uh, because she's still a little bit fucked up. And so what she actually ends up doing is that she goes to Zahir in prison in a really well done scene.
I love this scene. One of my favorites.
This is one of the best scenes in like the entire franchise. And she just kind of sits with him and meditates with him, and she's like at first she's apprehensive, but then she's like, I need to trust you just like this once. And like Zahir's like, for now, we're not enemies. We're just like fellow human beings. And they meditate together, and Zahir guides her through it. And like, she's able to get to the spirit world and save Jinora and everybody else that was captured. And then we learn what I keep forgetting her name. Kuvira. Kuvira, what she's using the vines for is she's basically having our old friend Varric make a doom weapon, like a doomsday weapon for her, like a nuclear weapon out of these spirit vines, which contain like a bunch of like spiritual power within them.
Yep.
And Korra finds out that Suyin has been captured, and so they go to Zaofu, and Korra tries to negotiate with Kuvira. It doesn't work. Kuvira like fights her and kicks her ass because she's still not used to fighting after the poisoning.
Poison, yeah.
And like she even goes into like tries to go into the Avatar state, and she like can't maintain it.
Yeah.
Bolin, who has we kind of glossed over this, we skipped over this, but he has a relationship with one of Suyin's daughters.
Opal.
Like her only daughter, I think, who is one of the new airbenders as well. And her and Bolin are like a couple, but they have a falling out over the Kuvira Suyin rift. And Opal's like, if you really want to really prove yourself to me, then like come with us to go save my mother and my brothers. And so Bolin and like Toph and like Opal and Lin?
Yeah.
Is that the entire group?
Yes.
They all go and try to save Suyin, who is along with Varric's assistant Zhu Li.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've all been taken to this town where wait, no, I think this happens after, because I think they go and they rescue Suyin and the rest of her family.
Yeah.
And then she tells them that Varric's assistant Julie has been taken to this town where they're going to test the doomsday weapon on this like deserted town and just like blow it up, and they're gonna blow up Julie along with them.
Because like she was kind of revealed to be like a defector.
Yeah, she was like when Varric turns like face, he's like, I don't want to work on this doomsday weapon, I've suddenly grown a conscience. That sounds like I'm like insulting them, but no, it's like a funny joke that they do. But he's turned face basically, and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And it seems like Julie is still loyal to Kuvira, but it turns out that she's actually working from the inside to like sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
And Bolin, and that's when Bolin and Varric like defect from Kuvira, and they go back and they find Korra.
Yep.
And that's when they rescue Suyin, and Korra has her fight with Kuvira, as I explained.
Yep.
And from there, like there's this doomsday device that Kuvira has. Even though she doesn't have
basically a huge fuck off laser cannon.
Yeah, it's like a huge like spiritual energy cannon, and even though she doesn't have Varric on her side anymore, basically Batar Jr. has the know-how to finish it.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of this countdown where Republic City knows that like Kuvira is planning to take over Republic City because it's on Earth Empire land. And they know when she's planning to do it, and they're making preparations, and they're trying to evacuate the city. But then it turns out that Kuvira has actually finished her doomsday weapon early, and they're like, it's okay, we can just like cut off the tracks and stop her because they're going to be transporting the weapon by rail. But then it turns out that she actually has a giant fuck-off mech.
A huge fuck-off mech.
That has the laser mounted to it, and it can just, like, waltz right into Republic City and destroy everything.
And she controls it through metal bending, and it's so cool.
It's the coolest thing ever. It's just a great, great finale. Like, we're getting into the finale right now, and this is, like, one of the best finales I've ever seen, like, in the history of television.
Yeah, it's really good. It's hard to think of something off the top of my head that tops it. It was that good.
I'm hard... I was thinking maybe since it's been so long, maybe I would have calmed down and, like, kind of tempered my reaction to it. But no, I do think it's a really great finale.
Okay, I agree.
And basically, Kuvira's got her Doomsday weapon. They're like a week early than when Republic City had planned to like reinforce themselves to combat it. And this is like, even disregarding that, this is on a level beyond what they were expecting. And basically, everybody gets something to do in this finale. Everybody gets like a great moment. Like even like at the beginning, Prince Wu gets a good moment. Yeah. Where
by helping the people evacuate.
Yeah, he helps the people evacuate, and like, they reveal that he's a terrible singer, but his singing actually can communicate with the badger moles, and the badger moles help them evacuate.
Yeah.
Which is actually done in a really funny scene.
Yeah, I dug it.
And so, that's what he gets, and Korra's gonna face off against Kuvira, and she gets to do a bunch of cool stuff, like trying to stop the mech. Like she makes a big ice wall.
Like everybody who fights against the mech has like cool stuff to do.
Like even characters that we haven't mentioned through like this entire thing, like Tenzin's son, whose name I don't remember.
Milo.
Yeah, Milo. Like he's just been like a stupid fart joke little kid character throughout the entire thing.
I think Milo is Japanese for fart joke.
Basically, like, they make you think that, like, he's just gonna do something stupid, and that's gonna be his contribution to this finale.
He's gonna fart on the mech, and it won't do anything. And he'll be like, ha ha ha, and then we'll move on to somebody important.
Like he farts, and then he, like, lifts off and does his airbending with farts, so you're like, is he gonna do that here? But no, he doesn't. He uses his fucking feet. And he actually comes up with a good plan, where like he's like, let's take like balloons filled with paint and use them to obscure like the viewing windows on the mech.
Yeah.
Asami, Varric, Asami's dad comes back, and they have a really good moment together between the two of them.
Because he was put in jail for funding the Equalists in season 1.
Yeah, but like they're like, let's have him work with us just this once.
Because he knows how to build these mechs.
Yeah, because he knows like how these mechs work, and it's Asami, Varric, Julie, and what's his name? Hiroshi.
Hiroshi.
Yeah, they're all working together to find a way to bring down these mechs, and they make like their own like flying mechs, which is pretty cool. And they carve into the mech, and Korra, Mako, and Bolin go inside.
Hiroshi has a really cool, like, sacrificial moment.
Yeah. Like, he's like, we need somebody to latch on to the underside of this mech and drill into it so that the Avatar and her friends can get inside. And he's like, I'll be the one who does it. And he's, like, clinging on to the very end, and he ends up sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
And then, they're all inside. Korra, of course, goes up to fight Kuvira. And then the other two are tasked with finding a way to take down the mech.
Yeah.
And there's actually a really... Mako's, like, best moment, hands down, in the entire series.
Yeah.
They get to the reactor that activates, like, runs the entire mech.
Yeah.
And, Mako comes up with a plan, and he's like, I'm gonna electrocute this power core and overload it, and it's gonna explode. And Bolin's like, what? Are you crazy? And he's like, you don't have to be, like, a cool guy and play the hero because I know you're already cool because you're my brother.
Yeah.
That was a good scene.
That was a really good scene.
A really great moment for Mako.
I think it would have been better if he died, but... and not just because, like, I don't like the character, just, like, I think it would have been more effective had he died, but...
Yeah, especially, like, after Hiroshi...
Yeah.
Sacrificing himself. But...
It's like a one-up. It's like, you think you had a noble death? Well, I'll show you.
So they take down the mech, and in, like, the rubble of it, Kuvira is running around, and Korra's trying to chase her, and Kuvira finds, like, the wreckage of the laser arm, and she's using her metal bending to pick it up and re-aim it and, like, turn it back on, and Korra's like, no, what are you doing? And it starts going haywire and, like, just tearing through the Republic City. Oh, and I didn't mention this, but this laser cannon is just like the coolest thing ever, like from a sound design, from visual design, just the way they handle like the sheer destruction that it does on Republic City when they blast it is like super amazing. I also forgot another moment. Going back a little ways. Oh, we are such good recappers.
We're the best.
Going back a little ways.
How did we do? We did better recapping Naruto, which was 15 fucking arcs.
Because it was easier to skip over stuff because there was so much that didn't matter.
That's true.
There was a lot more to like get angry about too.
That is also true.
But
we already had our angry moments.
Kuvira, there's a moment where Batar has been kidnapped by Korra.
Oh yeah, how the fuck did we forget this?
Yeah, and Korra's basically like I think this is really cool. She's like, I understand like the bonds that people have with each other and the bonds that means like are important to people. Like a hero in a series like this would, you know?
Yeah.
And she like uses that against Kuvira because she's like, we're gonna use your bond with Kuvira and the fact that she loves you in order to get her to stop attacking by kidnapping you and like putting you here in a strategic spot where if she attacks she's going to hurt you.
Yeah, basically putting you in harm's way to get her to stop.
Yeah, and it's like, come out and negotiate with us or else you're going to hurt him and then you're going to be sorry. But Kuvira just has this moment where she like she looks like really like torn up about it for a second, but then she like composes herself and she's like, fire the cannons.
Yeah.
And like, it's just a little expression, that one little moment, but I think they got it across, like, really well, like, her inner, like, dialogue there when she made that decision.
Yes, I agree. I really like that as well. And skipping forward, again, a really cool moment, and this isn't something that you missed, and you probably were coming up on this, but you bringing it up, because you brought up Batar, there's a really good moment for Su Yin, where after all this has happened, she's talking with Batar, and Batar Jr. had basically been with her the entire time, like against his mother and family, to be with Kuvira, and he's talking with his mother, and it's like, he's like, how will people forgive me for what I've done? And Su Yin says, well, this is something we're gonna have to kind of get through this as a family. And what it shows for Su's character is that she's always willing to give people she's always willing to give a second chance, because she did it with Lin. And
that's been her thing, like, through the entire, since her introduction, is that she's all about second chances.
Yeah, but then after we go, I'll take over a little bit here. After Kuvira started firing the laser at Korra and basically destroying everything, and as it's about to basically kill her, Korra goes into the Avatar state and basically protects both of them from being hit by the laser. And basically after that, it's like, she's like, oh, all right, you gotta give up now. They're
in the spirit world. They get blasted into the spirit world by that.
Yeah, basically they get blasted into the spirit world because she shields it into the spirit world. And when they come back, there's a new spirit portal And basically Kuvira's like, all right, I'm defeated, and they arrest her, and they show like Kuvira talks to Suyin, is basically like, I'm sorry for everything I've put your family through, and like even like Suyin, who is like her whole thing is giving people second chances, she'd given Kuvira so many, she's just like, you'll pay for what you've done.
Yeah, like people bring that up as like an out of character thing, but she'd given her so many second chances before. Like how much patience is she supposed to have for that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how many times can you screw me over before it's just like, I'm an idiot now?
Yeah. And I know some people are like really upset with like Kuvira getting kind of a slap on the wrist comparatively.
Yeah.
Like not like I think the way you put it was like you didn't like the lack of finality.
Yes. I stand by that, because if you look at look at how each villain is handled. You've got Amon, Noah Talk, whatever. He's killed in like a murder suicide. There's a definite, like, even after Korra beats him, like, there's a definite sense that, like, okay, he's done. It's over.
Yeah.
No point in coming back. He's done. And then there's the murder suicide. Unalak is, I think he just kind of disintegrates.
He died, and there's something we skipped over that I kind of wanted to bring up. After they kill Unalak, Esna and Deska are asked.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
What?
This.
Like Korra and her friends ask them, like, what are you gonna do now that your father's dead? And they're like, well, he was an evil jerk, so we don't really care.
Yeah. Like, we were gonna kill you 30 seconds ago, but after we were defeated, we're like, you know what? That guy's kind of an evil dick anyway. Fuck him.
Even though he's our dad.
Even though he's our dad, he can just die. Who cares?
And then Zahir gets a sock stuck in his mouth.
Yeah, so there's that. But at least when that fight ended, when the fight with Zahir ended, up until the sock part, it was, okay, he is defeated. He is done. His entire team is dead.
And then we get the scene later with him in the prison.
Yeah, so it was all worth it for that.
Yeah.
But, he's back in prison. Again, he's in a, like, definite, like, he was definitively defeated.
And when they show him again in prison, it seems like he's kind of committed himself to, like, staying in prison.
Yeah, like, he's kind of resigned to his fate. And then you've got Kuvira, who, again, if you compare what everyone has done, she came the closest to actual, like, fucking straight-up genocide.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I think if you really measure up the severity of what everyone had done, I think Zahir might top her a little bit because he actually succeeded.
Unalak almost succeeded too when you think about it.
Unalak almost succeeded, but he didn't really. His whole deal is he incited a civil war, which is bad, but don't get me wrong, that is a very terrible thing to do, but.
Then he tried to become evil and take over the world.
But that's a goofy, kooky Looney Tune thing to do, so...
Yeah.
And he got killed for it. But
like,
Kuvira...
being a genocidal dictator is kind of a more...
Yeah.
Down-to-earth kind of thing.
It is a more down-to-earth kind of thing, being a genocidal dictator. And her... Well, I think what bugged me more wasn't the fact that she was arrested and you can assume she's going to go to prison. It's that we just don't see any of it. We just see her being... taken away.
Yeah.
She's like in cuffs and it's just like, alright, come with us. Like, really? That's it? You've just... This person who literally just tried to destroy everything with a huge fuck-off mech.
On the other hand, and you kind of glossed over this and I was kind of like, why are you like kind of like underplaying this so much, is her conversation with Korra in the spirit world is actually really good.
Yes, it is. But I was mainly getting to my point of the slap on the wrist.
Oh yeah, right.
I mainly wanted to get to the Suyin point.
Right.
So yes, I did gloss over that.
But Korra has a speech where she's like, "You might think that I like don't understand you, but like I really do.
I see
like,
a lot of myself in you.
I see a lot of myself in you. We're both like headstrong and stubborn, and we've like had hard knocks." But like I don't remember exactly what she says, but she's like,
it's how you deal with it, basically.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but I actually really liked that for Sue, which was what my original point was. I really liked that she was like, you know, her whole thing is second chances, but she'd given so many to Kavira at this point, where she's like, I'm sorry for what I've done. She's just like, you know what, whatever.
But I like that bit with Korra too, because it's a really nice capstone to her character arc as well.
Yes, agreed. And then to end off the series, you know, everybody gets their closure.
Varric and Julie get married.
Yeah, Varric and Julie get married. And Prince Shit Wu says basically that he's going to abdicate.
He abdicates and he sets up he says he's going to set up a democracy for the Earth Kingdom.
Yeah, which was like, again, proving that season 4, even when it's introducing a shitty character, can still give them really cool moments, and that was a great moment for Wu. And then it gets to the scene that everybody talked about and are still talking about.
Well, Mako gets a little moment too, where he's like, kind of like,
are you talking about when he's talking to Korra? Yeah.
Yeah, he says to Korra, like, no matter what happens, I'm going to be by your side, not as a boyfriend, but as a member of Team Avatar. Yeah. I really like that too.
Same here.
Yeah, it was a really nice epilogue, and then it gets to, like you said, the point that everybody's talking about.
Which is equal parts great and kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, it's great because, you know, I'm glad everybody's talking about it, because it is a legitimately good thing. It's well set up, and it should be praised as such. But it's unfortunate because there's not that this is a bad scene, but there's so many great scenes, not just in this episode, but in this whole series, that this is the one that people are talking about. And I know there's, like, you know, kind of like social implications of it, but just in terms of talking about the show, I think it's great and kind of frustrating that it almost feels like everything else is being ignored.
Yeah, well, you might want to actually say what it is.
Oh, most everybody knows. It's the Korrasami thing.
Yeah.
It's basically revealed that... It was revealed earlier that the only person that Korra was writing to when she was in her, like, rehabilitation period, she was only talking to Asami, and... you know, she's basically telling her, you know, don't tell anybody else that I'm talking to you or have been writing to you this whole time. So, and it's revealed, like, it's like at Varric and Julie's wedding, and they're kind of talking about everything, and they say that they basically say, let's go on, like, a, you know, like almost like a vacation to the spirit world together, and then they go off with lust in their eyes, hand in hand, into the spirit world, into the proverbial spiritual sunset. And there were some people came out, was like, oh, you know, they're just friends. It's like, and then the creators were like, nah, we know what we're doing.
That's one benefit of having done this so late, is that we now have all this confirmation of, like, the fact that it's canon and why they did it and why they couldn't show more. Because they said that they wanted to show more, and, like, Nickelodeon was basically like, we'll let you do this, but there's, like, only so much that you can really get away with, like, on this kind of network.
Yeah.
So, I can understand, like, people's frustrations that there wasn't more shown, but at the other side of it, I understand, like, as unfortunate as it is just a reality of their circumstance.
It's an unfortunate thing that you kind of have no choice but to accept, and... that pretty much ended the series, and which is a pretty decent segue into what we want to talk about next, and basically our final topic, because we're basically at the Naruto podcast length.
Oh, jeez.
It's because of our weird tangents and horrible recapping skills. We may or may not get better at this as time goes on, ladies and gentlemen. I doubt
it. We are also a little out of practice after the hiatus.
We're also fucking terrible podcasters who go off on preposterous tangents about nothing. So,
but all the best podcasts go off on stupid tangents about nothing.
And we're funny, so if anybody's got a problem with it, go fuck yourself. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the next thing we wanted to talk about is the future of the series, which I think is a very interesting thing. Right now, the only thing that I've seen confirmed is that more comics will be made, which I don't have a problem with because the Last Airbender comics are phenomenal, and I think they said there's going to be another one that bridges the gap again even more between Airbender and Korra. But I would love to see some post TV series Korra stuff.
Yeah, like that's
to see Korra and everybody when they're even older, and I'd love to see them get another series on, hopefully not Nickelodeon. Like, I'd love to see them go to a network that actually...
Like FX?
Not FX, because that wouldn't... I don't think that would go there, but...
They have more serious stuff.
They have... Well, yeah, I mean, I guess... I was going to say they don't really have anything in the form of, like, that kind of a cartoon. I guess really Archer is really the only animated show they have on FX. At least that I can think of off the top of my head. I say that without really having a suitable substitute in mind. But I would love to see them be on another network where they can maybe not have like free reign to do whatever they want, because that isn't always the best thing. But I mean, I trust Bryke to do what's best for their baby that they've been working on for 10 years now.
like even if it's another like series of comics, that's another Avatar like series.
I'm fine with that.
Avatar, that would be fine too.
I would be fine with that, but like,
I just want
TV
more.
series. The TV series are so good. I love Studio Mir. Their animation style is fantastic, and you know, even with the bullshit restrictions that Nickelodeon put on them, and not just in a storytelling perspective, but in a budgetary sense.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the filler episode.
We didn't talk about the budget shit, and then they had their basically the Legend of Korra take on the Ember Island Players episode, only it was not good because well, there was a good part where they had Varric talking.
Yeah, they had Varric basically recapping the previous events in the series, but he was telling them like hyping them up like in a not real way so that they would be more dramatic. Right,
but the reason why they had to do that episode, the reason why they had to do the I think they called it like Remembrance or something like that. Yeah, Remembrances. The reason why they did that was because Nickelodeon had cut their budget so much that they had to do a clip show. Yeah. Which is
another
terrible.
Unfortunate thing about that is that it has some of the Korrasami bonding that people complain that there isn't any of.
Yeah.
So if you skipped that episode hearing that it was just a clip show, you would have missed some of that. Yeah, you would have. There's also speaking of the budget constraints, I think you can kind of tell with some episodes that they were, and I had theorized this when you and I were watching this as it aired back in December. You and I had kind of, well, I think you agreed, but I had theorized that the reason why there were some, not just the clip show, but there were a couple episodes where kind of a more still frame style of, like they used it was almost like a slideshow. Like when they're evacuating from the city, like when and it's just like, we gotta evacuate. Yeah, and it's just a still picture.
It's just a still picture, and it's Wu and Pema evacuating the city, and it was just a really out of place like still image. And I was like, I had theorized, I was like, you know what, Nickelodeon cut their budget real tight, and they want to make sure they have as much of it as possible for that finale. And I had theorized, I was like, they're gonna do something crazy for the finale, and sure enough, it was that.
Boy, did they ever!
It was that fucking mech. I guarantee you, all their animation budget went into that mech.
Oh, it was so worth it though.
Oh, absolutely! It was worth. I would have taken an entire episode of fucking slideshow for that mech. It was so good. So, but yeah, it's again, it just goes back to the point I made before we started recapping season 4. That Nickelodeon just did not know how to handle this show. They would much rather have 17 continuous hours of fucking shitty SpongeBob reruns instead of compelling television. So, like I said, I'd love to see another TV series on a more competent network. Maybe one that has an online player that isn't a piece of shit. Again, don't have a suitable substitute in mind, but, you know, anyone's better than Nickelodeon.
Pretty much. How about Netflix?
Netflix would be fine. Fuck yeah, go to Netflix. Netflix is a great idea. Way to go. Because the only animated show they have is fucking BoJack Horseman, so they could use something else, and I guarantee you they'd jump at the bit to get Korra, so. But, yeah, I would love to see more. The comics are suitable for now, but I'd love to see them do something else, because Avatar's been around for, 10 years. It was, basically, I think it was like a month ago was like the legit 10-year. I think back in early February was when Avatar: The Last Airbender's first episode aired. So it's been exactly 10 years, which is again another perfect loophole for us to exploit for why doing it now is not an irrelevant thing. Even though we're not talking about Last Airbender, we're talking about Korra, but neither here nor there.
And as much as I love the comics, I kind of like when they announced that the next thing that they were planning was another older Aang series. I was kind of like, okay, do we? We've kind of got the whole picture at this point. Do we really need more comics in that time period?
I agree. I agree.
Something else.
I'm pretty much positive it's still going to be great, but I would like to see some like Korra stuff now. Now that she's the character that we've kind of all wanted her to be from the beginning.
Yeah, and just for like variety's sake, and it would be a good like diversity.
Yeah.
Opportunity, just because they've set that up, and if they're in a comic, they can get away with a lot more.
Yeah. Well, because the Avatar comic, the Last Airbender comics, kind of do. So like, there's a lot more mature themes in those. Like, just the first one is about like Zuko making Aang promise that if he ever gets like too tyrannical to kill him. So
yeah.
Like, there's some mature themes in those, and I think there's a lot they can explore with this universe. And I think you said it best about, like, Naruto versus Naruto, and I'll let you say it.
Okay, yeah, we brought this up, like, a bunch of times. I think I've even said it on, like, Twitter at some point.
I think you did, but say it so the world can hear it.
It would be a crying shame if Naruto gets to get its series continuity extended, and Avatar just ends here.
Yeah. But we know we're getting the comics, but still, there's gonna be another Naruto movie. There's gonna be a new series starring his fucking shitty children.
I think there's gonna be like multiple new series.
Oh. Well, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Ugh. But to avoid ending on such a somber note, do you have any final thoughts? Because I think we've pretty much said everything there is to say.
Chris, do the thing.
We're not getting married, Gray.
No, the other thing.
Oh, okay. You want me to fire a laser cannon at Republic City?
Yeah, that.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. Let's see. Do I have any final thoughts? No, I think do the thing is a pretty good. That's a pretty good ender. No, my final thought is that I loved Korra. I was disappointed in its early goings, specifically season 2, which is fucking.
Yeah, those first 2 seasons, especially season 2,
is a mess.
Yeah, season 2 is a mess. Even season 1 was kind of a letdown compared to the original series, but those last 2 seasons were so great, and that finale is just phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good series. Like, in those first 2 seasons, I wasn't sure I could fairly say that it was a good successor to The Last Airbender, which was so good. The Last Airbender just had so many great moments and great characters that, after the jumbled fuckery that was season 2, I was like, probably, I would kind of balk on it a little bit, but after season 3 and season 4, it's worthy and then some, so. That's pretty much all we've got, I think, and unless you have anything you want to add in, like, the last seconds here.
I could say the do the thing joke again.
That's okay, I think once is enough. So, for Gray, I am Chris. You can follow us on Social media, I'm at Chris the Nerd 92. He's at Real Grey Bob. Subscribe to this channel so you can see more of this awesome podcast where we ramble like a couple of buffoons for a couple hours talking about whatever we happen to be talking about. So, let's see. We got cheap plugs done. I said who we were. So, I guess the only thing left to say is thanks for listening if you've listened this long, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.